Lori here with a video on Production and Operations Management, Chapter 9 from our text. And the first thing we're going to talk about today is U.S. manufacturing. I've done a little drawing for you here today. I know how much you guys love these. Oops, let's get that in the front and center. Okay, so U.S. manufacturing jobs. As you'll recall from our history of the economics of the United States, we began with a man in a pitchfork, and then we put people in factories, and then we put them in the service economy, and then finally we moved to the information economy. Well, we're going to talk about the manufacturing economy, which of course still exists, and how it's working in the U.S. today. So manufacturing jobs recently, in the last decade or two, have moved offshore to Mexico, China, places like that, largely to save money because wages were much lower there. However, since that time, wages have begun to increase, which is offsetting that advantage. So that was then. Now, people who are looking at offshoring jobs are doing so much more for strategic reasons, and that is getting close to new customers. So if they're going to put an auto plant in China, it's because they want to serve Chinese auto consumers more than they want to necessarily save money on jobs. All right, so that's a picture of U.S. manufacturing. Let's talk about operations management. And I've got a very simple slide on this one for you. Okay. Operations management is the transformation of goods, of resources into goods and services. The goods are stuff we make, and the question is, how do we add value or form utility when we are manufacturing or making things? And then the service side of the equation is services we provide. And again, same question, how do we add value or form utility? And that's pretty much all that operations is about. Operations management is about, is that transformation process to add value or form utility. Pretty straightforward, right? All right, so if we are adding value, operations management is about turning resources into goods and services. How are we going to add value? Well, in the case of goods, we can do it several ways. One is through lean manufacturing, which is getting more from less. Another way is by assuring high quality, and we can use some techniques such as Six Sigma, which is a technique, as well as statistical quality control and statistical process control. We can also assure fast turnaround by having flexible manufacturing, or by using a combination of CAD and CAM to do computer integrated manufacturing, that's CIM. And finally, we can make our manufacturing process customizable so that we are flexible, using flexible manufacturing, so that we can meet consumers' demands on an individual basis, and that's called mass customization. On services, it is all about show me the customer experience. I think you can remember that. We can talk about the same things. How do we assure high quality, fast service? How do we make sure it's customized? They read in the book about Ritz-Carlton and their ability to do a specific customer-based system that remembers each and every customer and what they prefer. And then you can also, I'm thinking that you can do lean servicing, and one of the examples I'm thinking of is a hospital. Obviously, having the right number of nurses is very important, but you also need to not be overstaffed for nursing, and so lean staffing or lean servicing would be a factor in making sure that you added value without adding cost. All right, now we're going to talk about operations management planning, and I've got it divided into who, what, where, when, and at the very bottom why, but we'll concentrate on who right now. Who? Well, you need to decide, are you going to use skilled or unskilled workers? What kind of wages are you going to pay them, and what skills do you need them to have? On the what factor, what resources do you need and what infrastructure is needed? There's no point in putting a plant in a remote region of China where the wages are very low if you can't then move your product out of that small town or that rural region to the distribution points where you need it. Where? Geographic location. You need to look at where are your raw materials, where are your components being built, and where are your final customers. And that will help you decide on an ideal geographic location. Also, you need to look at centralized production or distributed production. Are you going to make it all in one big plant, or are you going to make it in several different plants and then assemble it all at another plant? Lots of questions to answer there. When? Well, that's what we use PERT charts and Gantt charts for, and we're going to do an exercise, I think, in class on that, so I won't spend a lot of time here. One of the innovations that Japan came up with was just-in-time inventories. That was probably back in the 70s and early 80s. And the idea was that you didn't hold a lot of inventory on your plant site, but you counted on your vendors or suppliers to deliver what you needed just in time. Of course, that makes your supply chain pretty darn critical, and so you need to make sure that you've got an adequate supply. And finally, why do we do operations management planning? Well, the whole point is to optimize our value added. We're going to have a good time in class, and I'm glad you stuck around for the entire presentation. Thanks very much. Oh, I'm going to send you the link to a website. Just read the first 2 or 3 paragraphs. Let's call it 3 paragraphs. First 3 paragraphs of the story, and be ready to answer a question on that in class on the content quiz. Thanks so much. Bye, guys.